This is the recorded video discussion for healthcare waste management. So this is our last topic for the final period for MP-MLSP 1. So for the objectives of this particular topic, we should be able to discuss the importance of proper waste management in healthcare facilities. As we all know, we will, as laboratory technicians or laboratory technologists, we will be dealing with different kinds of body fluids, which should be treated as infectious. And this is very important, the proper waste management, in order for us to know how are we going to dispose and treat these kinds of waste. And then another is to discuss the proper identification of healthcare waste, the risks that are associated with this, and also how are we going to observe correct segregation, collection, storage, transport, treatment, and disposal of these kinds of waste. So what are healthcare waste? So it includes all the solid and liquid waste that are generated as a result of any of the following. Like, for example, during the diagnosis and treatment of diseases, in the laboratory, we will be processing different kinds of specimen, and um, the specimen that we are using here that are used for the diagnosis of the doctor, and as well as the treatment and management of the diseases of the doctor's patients. So these are also considered as healthcare waste. And aside from this, healthcare waste is also represented by a laboratory animals such as the mice, the rabbits, the chicken that we are using in for research purposes, and also in the production or testing of biological products, like for example, in making medicines or vaccines. Okay, the products or the raw materials that we are using are also considered as healthcare waste, and also all the waste that are being generated by a healthcare facility, just like, for example, a hospital, um, a laboratory. So first, why is healthcare waste management very important? As you can see in here, we have sustainable development goals, waste management concept, the chain of infection, hierarchy of controls, and the waste management hierarchy. For the sustainable development goals, good healthcare waste management helps people protect communities and the environment, which supports the global goals like good health, clean water, and cleaner planet. So as you can see here, the Sustainable Development Goals are a collection of 17 global goals that are or set by the UN General Assembly. So ang pinaka-purpose nito, this 17 Sustainable Development Goals is for the betterment and sustainable future for everyone. Okay, so for healthcare waste management, it specifically addresses three SDGs. We have SDG 3, which is about good health and well-being. SDG 6, about clean water and sanitation. 12, for the responsible consumption and production. So kumbaga, for these 17 global goals, ito yung tinutumbok ng healthcare waste management, SDG 3, 6, and 12. So going back, for the risk management concept naman, so we have already discussed about bio-risk management, di ba? So healthcare waste management reduces this risk. So when waste is handled properly, we can be able to avoid accidents, injuries, infections, and also environmental damage. And the chain of infection, okay? So the chain of infection, it is a model used to understand the infection process. So, ibig sabihin, class, as you can see here, nakikita nyo siya na para siyang chain. Okay? So, ang purpose of healthcare waste management is to at least break any of these chains in order for us to prevent the infection. So, dapat ma-break kahit alin man dito yung chain to be able to prevent the spread of infection. Okay, so I will be discussing this further later. And then also, how about for hierarchy of controls? This tells us that the best ways to protect people should start with the safest. Ano yung pinaka-safest? So pinag-aralan na natin to sa biorisk management. So ano yung safest? Like eliminating the hazard, to the less effective ones, like the proper wearing of personal protective equipment. And then proper waste management follows these steps to keep health workers and also the patient safe. Lastly, the waste management hierarchy. This is a guide for choosing the best way to handle waste. An example of this is reduce, reuse, and the recycle. And also after recycling, we can also be able to observe the proper healthcare management by properly disposing these kinds of waste. Ang pinaka-goal natin dito is to reduce the waste and make the disposal safe. So going back to the chain of infection, we have here the infectious agent. Pag sinabi natin infectious agent, an example of this is the bacteria, the fungi, the virus. Okay, ito yung mga germs. These are the source of infection. Okay, and then this reservoir. Ano naman tong reservoir na to? When we say reservoir, this is where the infectious agent lives and grows. An example of a reservoir can be soil, people, animals, and water. Dito siya nabubuhay, dito siya nag-grow, dito siya nagmo-multiply. And then when we say the portal of exit, this is this is about on how the germs or the bacteria gets out of our body, for example. So the way the germ leaves the reservoir, paano lumalabas yung germs from the reservoir. An example here is by coughing, sneezing, by specimens such as blood, body fluids, and open wounds. Okay. The next one is the mode of transmission. Ibig sabihin, paano nagta-travel yung infectious agent or how the germ moves from one place to another. Example is direct contact, the use or consumption of contaminated water and food. And also pwede rin through droplets kapag bumahing ka, yung mga droplets na lumalabas, and also the use of infectious or needles, yung kapag nag-needle prick tayo. Okay. And then the portal of entry naman is how the virus, the bacteria gets inside our body. The way the germ enters a new person. Example, by nose, by mouth, by eyes, by cuts, okay? And also needle stick injury. And then lastly, we have the susceptible host. This is a host who can get sick. Tayo to, okay? An example is the person who can catch the disease. An higher risk dito will be the children, the elderly, and also people with weak immune system. We have already discussed the hierarchy of controls sa bio-risk management, and again, the most effective is through elimination, and the least effective is by the use of the PPEs or personal protective equipment. Next one is the waste management hierarchy. Okay, so the best idea here daw is to prevent the generation of waste. It means that the best way to deal with waste is to not create it in the first place. Okay? So ano yung most preferred dito is to prevent the waste. So ano yung gagawin? So use only what we need, choose only the reusable items yung pwede natin i-recycle, and also avoid unnecessary packaging. What are the categories of healthcare waste? We have general and hazardous. General is also termed as non-hazardous. Under general or non-hazardous, we have the recyclable, the biodegradable, and the residual. And then hazardous, eto lahat sila, which are mostly generated by healthcare facilities. So let's discuss first the non-hazardous or the general waste. So non-hazardous healthcare waste are more commonly known as general waste and refers to waste that has not been in contact with infectious agents. Ibig sabihin, hindi sila contaminated with any infectious agent, hazardous chemicals, or radioactive substances. Okay, so ito yung mostly ginagamit natin sa household natin, similar in characteristics to municipal solid waste. So non-hazardous can be further classified into recyclable, biodegradable, and residual waste. Okay, so since these non-hazardous healthcare waste have not been in contact with infectious agents, they do not pose any special handling problem or hazard to human health or to the environment. So usually ito yung mga ginagamit sa housekeeping natin. Okay, housekeeping functions. And then when we say recyclable, ito yung um, pwede pa nating i-turn into something new like the bottles. Pwede siyang gamitin ulit and pwede siyang gamitin as another bagong um, material, for example. And then biodegradable waste, ito yung mga nabubulok which can be buried and be turned into fertilizer. Okay, for example, yung mga leaves, yung mga kinabit natin sa kitchen na fruits, peelings, okay? And then residual waste, these are neither recyclable nor biodegradable. An example is the sanitary napkin, the tissue paper, and also the food boxes, yung mga styrofoam na ginagamit natin. Okay? And then we have under non-hazardous or general waste, we have um, an example of this are recyclable. Ito yung recyclable. And then under din dito yung mga furnitures na sira. Okay, this can be recycled into another material. And then when we say biodegradable, this can be composted and be turned into fertilizers. For residual naman, as I have mentioned, hindi sila recyclable, hindi rin sila biodegradable. And this biodegradable pala class can break down naturally by bacteria or fungi and then eventually can be turned na into um, fertilizer. For the hazardous naman, okay, this pose a variety of environmental and health risks. These are infected, okay? These are, kumbaga, in contrary to non-hazardous, this can pose a risk to the health of the health workers, the patients, the visitors of a healthcare facility, and also the doctors and all those in the environment. So it can be further classified into sharps waste, infectious, pathological, pharmaceutical, genotoxic, chemical, radioactive, and pressurized containers. For the sharps waste naman, from the word itself, sharps, this can cause accidental cuts, pricks, or puncture wounds. A good example of this are the needles, syringes, the scalpels, the knives, and also, for example, na bumagsak yung test tube. Okay, so broken glass, considered as broken glass na siya. So these are also considered as sharp waste. So usually this sharp waste can cause cuts or punctures. So these sharp waste are considered as one of the most dangerous healthcare waste because they can cause both injury and infection. So tandaan class na whether or not these sharps are infected, these are usually considered highly hazardous and should be treated as if potentially infected. Next one are the infectious waste. So all waste that are suspected to contain pathogens. Okay, example, cultures and stocks from the laboratory. Okay, so these are test samples and growing germs from laboratory work. Yung culture media, usually dito tayo nag-grow ng bacteria. So definitely these are considered as infectious waste. So, and also waste from surgeries and autopsies of patients with infectious diseases. Example, yung tissues. Okay, yung tissues na kinuha from the surgery or autopsy, yung tools na ginamit, yung scalpel, for example, or the scissors, or any materials that was able to touch blood or body fluids during surgery or autopsy. And then also waste from isolation patients. Example, yung mga dressings, yung mga ginamit na damit nila, or any materials from people having these infectious diseases. And then we have waste from hemodialysis of infected patients. Ito yung mga tubings na ginamit, yung gloves, yung gowns, and also towels that were used in the dialysis. And then also infected animals from research. Example of animals that are being used for research, we have the rabbits, the mice, the chicken, animals that are used in experiments that may carry infectious agents. And then also any material that touch an infected person or animal, yung mga instruments, yung gloves or damit nila, and also the equipment. So under this infectious waste or highly infectious waste that require disinfection at source such as microbial culture. So dapat doon pa lang sa pinag-disposan natin, like for example here, kailangan na disinfect na siya kaagad. Example of this are the microbial cultures, microbial stocks of highly infectious agents. Okay. So this is the difference between an infectious waste based on WHO and DOH. So WHO, ito yung global, di ba? Kay DOH, dito lang siya sa national. So according daw to WHO, this highly infectious disease refers to those that were caused by organisms under biosafety levels 3 and 4. So examples of this infectious waste which causes highly infectious disease, ito sila. Okay? And then, on the other hand naman, according to DOH, this this is yung tinatawag na highly infectious disease ng WHO are considered as dangerous communicable diseases. Ibig sabihin, pag communicable, um, ano siya, nakakahawa siya. Like for example, Hep B, C, rabies, or ito lahat na nandito. Okay? Next one, we have the pathological and anatomical waste. So pathological waste is a subcategory of infectious waste. So and then pag sinabi ding anatomical waste naman, subgroup naman siya ng pathological waste that refers to recognizable body parts. Pag recognizable, kitang-kita siya na paa siya or kamay siya. Okay, so these are usually body parts from amputation procedures. Kunwari, pinutol yung paa, so recognizable pa rin siya. Okay, so these are considered as anatomical waste. So pag sinabing pathological waste, any waste that comes from the human or animal body. So it includes anything that is removed during surgery, autopsy, or any medical procedures. Examples, yung body parts, organs, blood and body fluids, yung mga fetus, okay? And then animal bodies from experiments. And then pharmaceutical waste from the word itself, pharma, these are drugs, okay? These are medicines, either expired, spilled, or contaminated. Pwede rin siyang vaccines and syrup, okay? Kasama din, under this are the bottles that were used to handle these medicines, for example, vials or boxes. And then also we have the genotoxic, including cytotoxic waste. This genotoxic waste is highly hazardous, may have mutagenic. Pag sinabing mutagenic, they are capable of inducing a genetic mutation. Okay? Meron siyang genetic, pwede siyang mag-cause ng genetic mutation. And then we have teratogenic. So, capable of causing defects in an embryo or fetus, pwede siyang makakause ng any defect sa fetus kapag pinagbubuntis siya, or carcinogenic. Pag sinabing carcinogenic, cancer-causing properties. So, under this, it includes anti-neoplastic or pag sinabing anti-neoplastic, anti-tumor, or cytotoxic or cell killer drugs. So under this genotoxic, including cytotoxic waste, kasama class dito, for example, yung urine, feces, or vomit. Pag yung patient is undergoing these kinds of treatment. Kapag nag-take siya ng cytotoxic drugs, okay, tapos umihi siya, yung urine niya is considered under genotoxic, including cytotoxic waste. Okay, the chemical waste, these are discarded chemicals. Okay, so chemical waste is considered hazardous if at least it has one of the following properties. Cytotoxic, nakakamatay siya or it's poisonous. And then reactive, madali siyang mag-react sa mga acids, bases, or water. And then flammable, pwede siyang lumiyab. Corrosive, it can cause skin injury or oxidizing. It may induce oxygen, and then afterwards, it can be flammable. Pwede siyang uh, what do you call that? Makakos ng fire. So under radioactive waste naman, contaminated with radionuclides, okay, kaya ito yung sa mga X-ray machines natin, okay? And then also the pressurized containers, ito yung cylinders, cartridges, and then oxygen tanks, or anything that are in aerosol cans. Associated with healthcare waste. So, this healthcare waste, sino yung at risk dito? So, the main group of people at risk to potential health hazards that are associated with HCW are the following. So, syempre, no, the staff that are working in the healthcare facilities, such as the doctors, the nurses, the auxiliaries, and also the maintenance personnel. So kapag sa maintenance personnel, yung mga nasa laundry din natin, kasama dyan, and also yung mga janitors, okay, mga housekeeping natin. And also since the patients are exposed pagdating sa healthcare waste as well as the visitors. And then as I have mentioned kanina, workers that provide support such as sa laundry, okay? Like for example, yung ginamit na damit is um, meron siyang spilled na urine or vomit. So, tapos kinuha siya ng laundry staff. So, at risk na siya doon. So, exposed na siya doon sa um, healthcare waste na yon. Okay? And then also kasama din dyan yung mga nagtatransport or kumukuha ng healthcare waste natin that are treating, storing them, and or also disposing them. And then kasama dyan yung informal recyclers or scavengers, sa mga basurero natin, yung mga nagkakalkal ng basura. Okay? So all individuals coming into proximity with hazardous healthcare waste are potentially at risk, okay, including those who also generate hazardous HCW, such as tayo as laboratory workers, no, as well as those who either handle such waste or are exposed to it as a consequence of improper management. So the general public could also be at risk whenever hazardous healthcare waste is abandoned or disposed of improperly. So pwede siyang makakos ng yung sa mga sharps, no? It may cause cuts or punctures and also be the source of infection if, for example, yung sharps, yung needle, is contaminated with pathogens. And then also infectious waste, the source of infection by various modes of transmission. Next one, yung chemical waste may cause injuries or burns. And also radioactive waste may cause skin reddening and nausea. And worse, it can induce cancer and genetic consequences. Ito nga, pag na expose ka radioactive waste, po pwedeng, if you are pregnant, po pwedeng meron siyang genetic defects. And also, it can cause air, water, and soil pollution to the environment. And lastly, the general public may lead to spread of infection. So healthcare waste segregation, collection, storage, and transfer, or transport rather. So it should first start with segregation. Okay? And class, if you are not sure, okay, kung saan ika-classify yung waste item na yon, as a precaution, it should be placed into a container used for hazardous healthcare waste. Okay? So, the correct segregation of healthcare waste is the responsibility of the person who produces each waste item, whatever their position in the organization. Okay? And you also, as medical laboratory technologists, are also responsible for the proper healthcare waste segregation. So all waste must be segregated into categories. So under A, basic. So ibig sabihin, all patient care area. So we have three bins. We have for general waste, represented by a black bag, infectious waste by a yellow bag, and also the sharps container or needle cutter. So this is an example of a sharps container. So this should be puncture proof. Ibig sabihin, pag tinapon dito class, hindi magpa-puncture itong lalagyan niya, and also this should be enclosed properly. Okay. In special areas naman, usually ito yung mga hospital, so meron na kasi siyang anatomic, no? Special areas, meron ka ring, aside from these basic ones, meron pa siyang bins for anatomic or pathological, chemical waste, and pharmaceutical waste. And then, for exceptional waste, meron ka rin dapat cytologic, radioactive, genotoxic, or pressurized containers na bins. Okay. So kung makikita nyo dito class, pag sinabing non-hazardous or general waste, yung plastic niya should always be black. Okay? And after that, it should be properly labeled with non-biodegradable waste. And then for biodegradable naman, ito yung po pwede siyang ito yung po pwede pa siyang gawing fertilizer, okay, by composting. It should be represented by a plastic liner na gagamitin natin, which is green. with the label biodegradable waste. For sharps naman, dapat it should be puncture proof, wala siyang plastic liner, so bin and container lang talaga siya. And then also kapag sa infectious naman, we have uh, sharps naman, pwede rin siyang yung yellow na plastic, but na bin, or rather a bin, which is which should be labeled as sharps. Okay, so dapat palaging meron tayong label. So kapag dito, puncture proof, matik na yan, alam mo nilang sharps. But if you will be using just a bin or an ordinary bin or container, it should still be labeled as sharps, and the color should be yellow. Next one, we have infectious waste. Kapag infectious waste class, make sure that the bin is strong and leak-proof and with cover. Okay? Yellow din siya. Ang difference lang niya for this one is it should be labeled as infectious waste. Okay? Yellow, it should be infectious waste with biohazard symbol. So, dapat meron siyang biohazard symbol. Pwede rin siyang yellow if you're pertaining to pathological waste kasi nga these are considered as infectious, di ba? Magkakatalo lang yan by the label. Okay? Pare-pareho silang yellow. Magkakaiba lang yan dito sa mga labelings niya. Right? Okay, next one, yellow pa rin, but it should be labeled with anatomical waste with biohazard symbol. And then when we are using the color brown, we are pertaining of pharmaceutical waste. And again, it should be still be labeled. Next one, under brown pa rin, aside from pharmaceutical, kapag yung chemical waste. Kapag orange naman, it should be labeled as radioactive waste, and also remember this one class. The plastic liner should also be labeled with the name of the radionuclide and the date of deposition. Ibig sabihin kapag date of deposition, date that it has been placed inside the container. So na-segregate na siya. So ito, collection na tayo. Okay, so we have two types of collection of healthcare waste. We have on-site and off-site. For on-site collection, the collection occurs within the premises of the healthcare facility. So these are performed by the general service personnel of the facility. For example, sa laboratory natin, yung mga housekeepers natin, yung kumukuha doon sa laboratory nung healthcare waste natin. So that is on-site. Okay? Pag sinabing off-site, yung off-site is conducted by an accredited DENR transporter. Ito na yung mga kumukuha na talaga. And this time, yung collection occurs from the central storage area. Hindi na sa mismong laboratory. Kukunin na yan sa mismong storage area ng facility. Okay? Kumbaga, magkakasama na lahat sila kapag sa off-site. Okay, example, no? Si on-site, sa laboratory natin, kinuha siya nung housekeeper natin. Si housekeeper natin yan, ilalagay yon sa main storage area ng AUF. Okay, that is on-site. Kapag off-site, yung DENR transporter mismo, yung mga nagpipick up ng basura mismo, kukunin yung basura doon sa main storage area ni AUF. Alright, so that is off-site collection. So kapag na-collect na, we will, kailangan, na-collect na for example sa laboratory natin, ano yung sa storage natin na makikita. Okay, ito yung minimum requirements for the storage of this waste. It should also be color-coded. Okay? And then kung makikita nyo siya, it should be isolated, it should be fenced, and lockable. And then the maximum storage times are not longer than 48 hours daw during the cooler season and 24 hours during the hot season. So the central storage areas should be away or isolated from patients and the general public. Okay? Next one. Ito yung storage pa rin, no? The staff receive instruction on the proper handling and storage. And then also, the staff should also learn how to protect themselves from injuries and infection. And then, after storage, ita-transport na yan. So, kukunin na siya nung pinaka-main transporter natin. Okay, so this healthcare waste is collected separately at least once a day. Okay, so hindi siya kasama sa municipal waste, no? This is different. Iba yung kumukuha dito. And then, for the transport, yung transport staff na nila class are usually vaccinated at least against Hep A and B, polio and tetanus kasi they are directly exposed to healthcare waste. So, after na-collect, after na-transport, it is time for the treatment. Okay? So, basic HCW treatment. Ano yung purpose of treatment of healthcare waste? It is to reduce the potential hazard posed by HCW. So, kasi infection siyang kinuha, di ba? So, ang purpose of treatment is to at least reduce or minimize the potential hazard. So, meron tayong 5 basic processes for treatment. We have thermal, chemical, irradiation, biological, and mechanical. So, again, class, you have to remember that the minimum treatment required is disinfection. Kaya nga sa mga laboratories na class, you were required to bring Lysol and what do you call that? Bleach. Okay? Kasi sa atin mag-i-start yung treatment. Okay? Minimum treatment which is by disinfection to avoid the further spread of infection. Okay, so under thermal, we have low heat thermal processes. So it uses thermal energy. It uses heat. Okay, so a good example of this is by the use of autoclave. Okay, and under low heat thermal processes, we have pyrolysis from the word pyro, application of heat in the absence of oxygen. So ito class, dito sa low heat thermal processes, gumagamit sila ng equipment. Okay, hindi yung ibig sabihin na by the use of heat is magsisiga tayo. Hindi. Okay, so meron tayong special equipment that are able to do this process. A good example of this is moist or wet thermal treatment, the use of steam to disinfect waste by the use of autoclave. Ano yung principle of autoclave? Okay, the principle of autoclave is steam under pressure. And then class, remember, no, ano yung recommended temperature, time, and time for the culture, for autoclaving or for treatment of culture media, yung liquid, yung mga glass pipettes or mga glasswares natin sa laboratory instruments for assay. Okay, ang required dyan is 121 degrees Celsius, 15 PSI for 15 minutes. Okay, tandaan class, no? If you will be using an autoclave, okay, for low heat thermal process, autoclave, low heat thermal processes for example, culture media, liquid, yung mga um, uh, water natin, okay, and then also glass pipettes, yung mga, kunwari, pwede rin yung mga test tubes natin, instruments natin that will be used for testing, okay. Ang required dyan is 121 degrees Celsius, 15 PSI. When we say PSI, it is pounds per square inch for 15 minutes. Okay, how about for decontamination of medical waste? I-decontaminate natin yung medical waste. We need 132 degrees Celsius, 15 PSI for 30 to 60 minutes. Again, 121 degrees Celsius, 15 PSI for 15 minutes, to be used for culture media, liquid, glass pipettes, glasswares, instruments that will be used for testing, and then 132 degrees Celsius, 15 psi for 30 to 60 minutes for the decontamination of medical waste. Next one, the chemical processes. So chemical processes, so i-shred muna siya, i-grind or mix to increase the exposure of the waste to the chemical agent. So prior to discharge, okay, this should be neutralized first by using heated alkali to be able to digest this pathological waste, these anatomical parts. Okay? So the speed and efficiency of chemical decontamination depends on operational conditions, including ano yung type of chemical disinfectant that was used, ano yung concentration niya, yung contact time niya between the disinfectant and the waste, and also the organic load of the waste, um, ano yon, tissue ba siya, pathological waste, okay? And then it varies then because of humidity and pH. So chemical processes, we use treatment methods, we use disinfectants. So example of disinfectants, ito siya. And then yung ginagamit natin sa lab is the bleach or yung Clorox. And then biological processes, pag sinabing biological processes, kumbaga natural way of decomposition. An example here is by the use of enzymes, okay? And also composting and vermiculture. Pag sinabing vermiculture class is the use of worms, okay? Digestion of organic waste through the action of worms, especially if you will be decomposing hospital kitchen waste, yung mga pinagkainan, yung mga um, bread, rice, mga leftovers, okay? And then natural decomposition of pathological waste is pwede rin siya through burial or ililibing siya. Okay? Next one we have, it has undergone treatment, so it's time for the disposal of the healthcare waste. Through the following processes, we have encapsulation, inertization, by the use of concrete vault, placenta pit, safe on-site burial, and also the sanitary landfill facility. The first one is encapsulation. Kapag encapsulation, if you fill nila yung container that contains the waste, and then they will be adding an immobilizing material. An example of the immobilizing material is the grout. Okay? And then afterwards, kapag nag-add na sila ng immobilizing material, isi-seal nila yung container. Okay? So, they use boxes, okay, or metallic drums. So, ano yung main advantage of encapsulation? That is to reduce the risk of scavengers that gains access to the hazardous healthcare waste. Okay, so this process is appropriate for establishments for the disposal of sharps and chemical or pharmaceutical residues. Okay, and then next one we have inertization. So kung kanina, okay, we are using grout as immobilizing material, this time kapag inertization, yung waste will be mixed with cement or cemento. Okay? So this process is specially suitable for pharmaceuticals and for incineration ashes with a high metal content. So imimix na nila yung waste with the cement until maging ganito na siya. Okay? So iso-solidify nila. So this process is reasonably inexpensive and can be performed using relatively unsophisticated mixing equipment. Kasi imimix mo lang naman siya and then with the cement and then patitigasin and then ganito na siya yung output niya. Okay? And then next one, we have the sharp spit or what we call as concrete vault. So meron siyang vault dito, concrete yung vault, and then we dispose here the sharps and syringes. Okay? So nakadeposit dito yung sharps and needles na ginamit natin. And then the concrete vault, so inside this is alternating layers of waste and soil. So waste, soil, waste, soil. Okay, so alternate siya. And then next one, we have the placenta pit. So the placenta should be disposed and hayaan natin to decompose on its own biologically. Okay? So ilalagay lang siya dito sa concrete pit. And then also remember that wala tayong ilalagay na chemical disinfectant. Okay? Such as for example chlorine. Okay? Kasi we are preventing here um, yung natural or biological decomposition. So the process of biodegradation in the pit can destroy pathogenic microorganisms. Okay, paglagay natin dito siya, magde-destroy na agad kung ano man yung pathogens that are in the placenta. Okay, so mag-change yan because magde-destroy yan by the changes in temperature, pH, and also through the chemical and biological reactions. And then we have safe on-site burial. So, ibubury lang siya. Okay, but it should be in a remote area. Okay? And then lastly, we have the sanitary landfill facility. So, ito yung pinaka-best. Okay, so again class, this HCW should not be mixed with the municipal waste. Okay? So, provided na yung meron siya under the ano to ha, under siya ng ground, and then meron siyang leachate pipes. Leachate, expel natin as Leachate. Meron siyang leachate pipes. So ano ibig sabihin? Anong purpose ng leachate pipes? It collect any wastewater obtained from the waste. Okay? Yung wastewater hindi na makukuhang lumabas sa ground, which can cause exposure and contamination with water kasi meron na siyang leachate pipes. And then another pipe that is in the sanitary landfill facility is the pipe that is used to collect methane gas. Si methane gas kasi class, kapag sa mga waste products, mag-generate yan ng methane gas, which is magiging dangerous yan. It can cause dizziness if mataas na yung concentration niya. Okay, kaya nga, dito pa lang, sa ilalim pa lang ng soil, meron ng pipe that is used to collect the methane gas. Okay? Ayan. Okay, so nasa ilalim siya ng ground. So wala ng soil or water contamination. Okay? So I think that is the end of the discussion, and I hope you've learned something from it. And good luck po sa final exam natin. Okay? Thank you.